Welcome, parents and guardians of the class of 2024, to our Parent Guardian Night. We are so excited to have your students here at Columbia High School for their 9th grade year, even if it's not exactly how we would have planned it. We're making the best of it, and we are so happy to welcome you to our school community and tonight to share with you a short presentation followed by a live Q&A. I am the Director of School Counseling at Columbia High School, Fallon Ballastone, and I'm so happy to have you here with us. Thanks for tuning in. Before we get started, we do have a word from your Home and School Association representatives.
Hello, I'm Stanley Fogg.
And I'm Liz Gordon, and we are your freshman HSA reps.
Welcome to Columbia High School 2020. We encourage you to sign up for our HSA class.
And to join the HSA, where you'll find out all kinds of information about what's going on virtually with kids and students.
So nice to see them in front of our building, which we are looking forward to hopefully getting back to real soon. And we can't forget a hello from Ms. Hewitt, who is the 9th grade assistant principal, who will be following your students all 4 years. So she's the class of 2024 assistant principal.
Good evening, class of 2024 families. My name is Cheryl Hewitt, and I am the 9th grade assistant principal. Welcome to the 9th grade level meeting. It's been my pleasure to work with so many families thus far, and I'm looking forward to meeting many more of you throughout the school year. Students, by now I hope you have begun to settle into your classes and you have a good sense of what's going to be required of you. If you've not done so far, please make sure this evening you identify who your guidance counselor is and make plans to meet him or her. This person is part of your support team and will really help you be successful over the next 4 years. Again, it's my pleasure to welcome you to tonight's presentation, and I look forward to working with all of you. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Ms. Hewitt. And a hello from our counselors.
Hi everyone, this is Mr. Clyburn. Have a wonderful, wonderful year.
Hi everyone, it's Ms. Cortez, school counselor at Columbia High School.
Hi CHS families, I'm Yolande Fleming, school counselor for grades 9 through 12.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Handler, school counselor at CHS.
Hi, I'm Jenny McDowell. Let's go Cougars.
Hi everyone, I'm Ms. Wendy Chavez, school counselor at Columbia High School. Let's have a great year.
My name is Stephanie Ranelli. I look forward to navigating this year with all of you.
My name is Courtney Rucker. I am a school counselor here at Columbia, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
Hi everyone, my name is Adrian Williams. I'm a school counselor here at Columbia High School, and I'm very excited to be back this year.
Hopefully you or your student or both of you met the counselor assigned to you at the 9th grade orientation day with the counselor meet and greets during those lunch periods or connected with them otherwise. There will be a time leading more towards the winter where we do have formal meetings with our 9th graders. So they will be able to see their counselor again then, as soon as our counselors wrap up the college application process with our seniors. We look forward to then connecting again with our 9th graders. So I know there's a lot of websites, a lot of platforms right now, but I just wanted to give a quick rundown of our little virtual CHS Survival Kit, everything we need to be able to access to not only survive, but thrive as CHS this quarter while we are virtual. At this point, I'm hoping that everybody has been able to get onto Canvas. Just a reminder that if a parent or guardian does want access to Canvas, then their student has to log on and pair with an observer, and then that's where they would indicate your contact information. The resources and instructions for this are on our SOMSD website, so you can check those out there. For PowerSchool, if you're having any trouble logging on to your parent portal, there's an email address on our website. I also put it right here for you to send a little note to, and they can write back with login information for you if you're having any trouble. SCORE is our counseling center's college and career planning program. We are working to get all of the 9th graders signed up and have accounts created, and then we will be sending out parent invitations if you haven't already received one. We're trying to get those students signed up first, and then we move on to the parent invite after. So stay tuned on the SCORE program. You can really just have fun with that right now. looking up career inventories, looking up information about different colleges, even if it's a little early for that, it's there for you. And most importantly, right now, that's where we have our calendar of events that your student can access through their account, which we're going to talk about again in a minute, but that's an important resource for your students. Also, make sure that your student signs up for their counselor's Remind account. That's like a little bit of a texting app where the counselors can then text your student. If they're not hearing back from them via email or any other way they're trying to get in touch with them, they can send a text to their phone through the Remind app if your child signs up for that. So it's a really great way for our counselors to access your students. Those codes, the Remind codes for your student to sign up, are on Canvas on the Counseling Center page that your student has access to, and you, if you're added as an observer. And of course, don't forget to check your emails. Parents, whatever email address you have in PowerSchool under the contact information is where you're going to be getting emails from the school. That's how that works. So make sure that you're checking whatever email address it is that is in PowerSchool. And when I send communications from the Counseling Center, the students are always on that too. So if they're checking their SOMSD email, you both should be getting those same messages. Nothing is more important to our survival and our ability to thrive than mental health. So once we get all these platforms under control, it is important to remember that despite all of this new information and new ways of going to school right now, that we always have to kind of step back at the end of every day and assess how the mental health of our students and of course of ourselves is, and never forget that that's of course the most important thing. I know it's like, oh, we got to high school for your student, everything's going to be in my record now, everything's going to count for college, and yes, but nothing's going to count more than your wellness and the wellness of your students. So that's something that's going to be a thread throughout our little presentation this evening. And it's a thread through all of our counseling center events, meetings with students, and messages, is that that's most important. So your counselor, your child's school counselor, can be a really good resource when it comes to not only academic advising, but mental health as well. They're kind of your student's person. If your student doesn't know who to ask or what to do about something, go to the counselor. If the counselor doesn't know, they will find out and get back to you. Same goes for you, the parents or guardians. That is your person at CHS. You should never feel like you don't know who to go to or who to ask, because you can always go to and ask the counselor. And again, they'll get whatever information they don't already have for you. The counselors do a lot, as you'll notice over your students' 4 years here. We do deliver a lot of programming. We have a lot of events. Your child will be meeting with the counselor each year to discuss scheduling, advising, ultimately college and career counseling. That's a big part of it. Throughout all 4 years, the school counselor's responsibility is to monitor the graduation status of your student and keep you informed of that. And of course, they respond to any needs of our students. Any kind of referral that is needed that can go through the counselor. So your counselor is there to speak with your student about anything at all, how they're feeling, mental health issues as well. But if at any point the counselor feels that it does need to be referred to a different level of care, then they will put that referral into either a school or outside of the school resource. So don't forget, the counselor is there for that as well. And really anything that you or your student needs. Of course, the counselors collaborate with everyone in the building, all the different teams and departments. We all work together just to support your student, so they can be a good go-between for you and help liaise with some of the other people in the building that your student is communicating with. The number one thing that a counselor does is advocate for your student. So we're always on your student's side. If your student is having any kind of issue at all, we're there to listen to your student, to hear them out, and then to help guide them towards the next step. Here's some of the resources that we do have in place right now at Columbia during our virtual learning quarter. So, of course, the number one resource is the counselor. Again, that is your student's person they can go to for anything. We also have free tutoring through the Achieve Foundation. The link for your student to sign up for a free virtual tutor is on our Canvas page as well. Don't forget that the teachers are available by appointment between that 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock period each day. Your student could reach out if they want to have another check-in with their teacher. The Counseling Center is running the Teachable Tuesdays workshops throughout the year. So you should have received an email with this week's Teachable Tuesday events. These are workshops that are focused on either academic or social emotional learning that are available to both students and parents each Tuesday. So we'll be sending weekly updates of what's to come. But don't forget, the score calendar through your student score account is where they can access the full calendar, see ahead, and plan for which workshops they wish to attend. And the links for all of these workshops are also on the student score calendar. We are going to be running some virtual groups. We had sent out a survey trying to garner some interest in what students would like to kind of get together and talk about. These are going to be run by our student assistance counselors. We have our 9th grade student assistance counselor, who is Miss Martinez. There's her email address right there. We also have Mr. Lupus, who's our upperclassman, SAC. They are here not only to run the groups, but also to be a person who the counselor may possibly refer your student to if they are experiencing any mental health challenges that go beyond the counselor's scope. So they're here not only to get those referrals and to check in with your student, but also to help students through any substance abuse issues that they may be experiencing and other mental health issues. So the SACs are there not necessarily for the academics, but more for that mental health, emotional wellness element. And you're also welcome to directly reach out to the SAC anytime. You don't have to wait for the counselor to refer. If you would like them to check in with your student, reach out. And we are very happy that the loft is here still at Columbia High School. They're another resource that the counselor may refer your student to. And especially when we get back to in-person, they have a lot of great offerings for our students, and not only additional counseling, but also like after-school homework clubs and things like that. Field trips. So we love the loft. Okay, you're in 9th grade. I know that right now we're just worrying about getting acclimated to Columbia and to virtual learning. So it can be hard to think ahead, but I know a lot of students are, and they want this information. So it is important to note our graduation requirements, which are also in our course offerings guide online and in multiple places. But we do require, in order to get a high school diploma, 4 years of English, which is 20 credits because 1 year is 5 credits. 4 years of phys ed and either health or driver ed. So each year students get health, except for in 10th grade, they get driver ed instead of health. That's how that works. 3 years of math, and there's our little trajectory underneath that students follow. So depending on what math they're in this year, that'll be the next math they take the following year. 3 years of science, 3 years of social studies, a year of world language, although most colleges would want at least 2 to 3 years of a world language. So we do encourage students to stick with their world language. 1 year of fine arts. If you do look at our course offering guide online, you'll see the list of what is counted as a fine art in terms of electives. That's like our music classes, our art classes. 1 year of 21st century life and careers, which is like our TV production electives, our engineering electives. Again, you can look in the course offering guide to see which electives fulfill that requirement. And all students are required to take a half year, 2.5 credits of financial literacy. All in all, you need 120 credits to graduate high school. The school counselors do monitor this for your student, but it is important for you to also be aware and for your student to be aware. It helps inform kind of the scheduling process that we go through each year. It's also important to note how many credits your student must earn to progress to the next year. So this year, your students must earn at least 30 credits to then be considered a 10th grader the following year, and then 60 to be an 11th and 90 to be a 12th grader. Note that most students are enrolled in 35 credits per year. So that would be a period 1 through 8 schedule with a lunch. That's 35 credits. So most of our students end up with more credits than necessary to progress on to the next year. GPA, grade point average. I think this is one of the biggest changes of being in high school is that now every final grade that you get in a class at the end of the year gets a numerical value assigned to that. And then that all gets averaged out into something called a GPA, a grade point average. And this is something that's going to be really important when it comes time for the college admissions and the post-secondary planning process. So this grid here is taken straight from our course offering guide. So of course you could pull it up and look at it closer on your own. But what we're showing here is that we do have 2 different GPA calculations. We have an unweighted GPA and a weighted GPA. The unweighted GPA is simple. There's one column. At the end of the year, you get a final grade. There's the numerical value associated with it. It gets averaged out. That's your unweighted GPA for the year. The weighted GPA is more complicated. The weighted GPA is only considering your core academic subjects So many electives and phys ed, they're not calculated into the weighted GPA. The other big difference is that the weighted GPA considers which level you're in, the academic level, honors, or AP. As you can see, the numerical value of the letter grade goes up as your level goes up. So like if you get a B in academic geometry, that is worth 3.33. So your GPA for that course would be 3.33. But if you're in honors geometry and you get a B, that's a 3.67. So your GPA can go up a little bit by getting the same grade in a higher level course. Very important, please note that your GPA is only calculated based on final grades. So at the end of the year, you'll know what your GPA is for 9th grade. And then any GPA information you see in PowerSchool moving forward, it's not going to change until you have new final grades to add. So then at the end of next year, you'll get an updated GPA. And the big question, which GPA counts more for colleges, weighted or unweighted? It's a complicated answer that we could talk for hours about. But basically speaking, we'll say that the weighted counts more because that's more of what the colleges are reviewing when they get your application, your core subjects and the rigor of your coursework, which is kind of what we're looking at in the weighted GPA. I must end that part of the conversation by reminding everyone that you are more than your GPA. It can be very easy to get caught up in this, and I think it's important to understand how GPA works so you can set goals for yourself. But in the end, you're more than your GPA. The colleges know that. Most of the colleges are moving towards holistic admission review process this year, now more than ever, since I'm sure you've heard so many colleges have gone test optional. So they're all moving towards more holistic review processes. And that includes looking at what else your child does with their time, what kind of recommendations they have, if they've improved over time in high school, everything like that. That's really important to remember, especially as a 9th grader. Colleges acknowledge that 9th grade is a transitional year. It can be really tough for a lot of students. And they are going to be focusing more on those later years, especially on junior year, the most recent year when you apply. So of course, it's great to get a good foundation on your GPA in 9th grade, but it's also not the end of the world if you don't. We're just going to do the best we can this year, try to set ourselves up nicely, get some good study skills going, work on our time management skills, and then be able to set some goals for moving forward. And there's always more than just your GPA that people are reviewing you by when it gets to college. And of course, for us, your wellness and your mental health is more important than your GPA or anything else for that matter. So don't ever forget that. We could all put this little Post-it note on our refrigerators to remind our students every day. A couple of things to just note coming up, although we will review this again as things get closer. The course selection timeline, so the opportunity for your student to pick their courses for 10th grade, that happens around winter time. So probably late winter, like February, March is when we're going to be starting that process. So prior to then, we'll make sure you have all the information, the updated course offering guide, how everything works, all of our deadlines. You'll have that prior to that time. But just so you know, that course request time happens in like February, March. Some things to keep in mind are that we do have a math advancement program where during the summer, some students have the opportunity to move ahead in the math trajectory. So for example, if your student is taking algebra this year, they have the opportunity to, assuming we offer it this summer, to take geometry over the summer, which is the next class in the trajectory, so that in 10th grade, they can be in algebra 2 instead of geometry. That would then allow them to take pre-calculus junior year and then calculus senior year, which is a goal that a lot of our students have, is to get to calculus senior year. So the math advancement program is a great opportunity to get to that, especially if you're in algebra this year. You don't have to. It's totally fine if you don't. Just letting everyone know that's an opportunity that more information is sent out about from the math department in the spring. It's also really important to start to become familiar with prerequisites for certain courses. That's all listed in the course offering guide on our website. Some classes do have a prerequisite, so it's important to take a look and make sure that if you one day want to take a certain class with a prerequisite, that you register for whatever that is, whatever that prerequisite is, maybe next year. It's just important to kind of plan that out and be aware of that. We also have a sending relationship with Union County VOTEC, which is a share time program for our students. So They have mostly 2-year shared time programs, which means that in the winter of your child's sophomore year, you could apply for those so that your child would be spending half the day junior and senior year at Union County VOTEC in a program and half the day at Columbia. There's one program that's a 3-year program. That's their cosmetology program. So that would require an application this winter to start next year for the 3-year shared program. It's really cool. It's an awesome facility there. There's a lot of neat programs, especially for our students who have interests that maybe we don't just offer at Columbia. There's automotive, there's carpentry, there's plumbing, there's some graphic design programs. So you could go on Union County VOTEC's website, but we'll also make sure we're sending out that information. The only thing that's really time sensitive for that is any student interested in cosmetology, because that would be this winter that you would need to apply for that. Option 2, we are pausing on right now for quarter 1 while we're virtual, but there will be plans, of course, to consider going back to option 2, where if you do play a sport, you could use that for your PE credit for the quarter while you're in season. But right now we do have a pause on that while we're virtual. So just stay tuned for more information there. And also just want to let everyone know about Money Skill. So you saw on the graduation requirement slide that we do have a 2.5 credit half-year requirement for a financial literacy, which can be fulfilled by this Money Skill course, which is an online free course that we can give our students access to. So if you're doing your planning for the 4 years and you realize, I'm not going to fit in this half-year financial literacy, just keep in mind that there is an opportunity to take that online for free through a Money Skill program that we can set you up with. So we send out information about that also in the spring because the class starts in the summer. You don't have to start it in the summer. You could also do the fall, but we don't have a spring class. So at this point, we'd be waiting for the information for the next round of courses. All of that said, I know that was kind of a lot of information, but I just want to kind of step back and remind everyone that none of that matters if we're not healthy and we're not well, and if our students are not. So let's remember to encourage our students to still stay connected to their friends in a safe way, whether it's outdoor visits or just talking on the phone and FaceTiming. And to remember that self-care, getting outside, getting some fresh air every day, and just always keeping check on our students' mental health. If you have any concerns at all about your child's mental health, please reach out to the school counselor. And we can figure out if we need to refer to anyone else in the building or outside of the building. Don't hesitate to reach out. Always be taking those checks on your student. Any concerns at all, bring forward. That's our biggest message that we don't want you to forget and that we want you to think about every day. And with that, I thank you so much for tuning in to this presentation, and we are going to start our live Q&A.